She'll never be able to forget her torrid and terrifying affair with cold-blooded killer Chris Watts. Amanda McMahon met Watts on the dating site Tinder last March, 5 months before he strangled his pregnant wife and smothered his 2 little daughters.
He seemed like a genuine guy. You know, I mean, he was funny, he was charming.
Watts claimed he was divorced. They started out texting each other. She texted, "Morning, bud." Watts replied, "What's new, pretty lady? When can we eat tacos together? That sounds like a plan. This could get out of hand. I like it." After they exchanged a few flirty text messages, Amanda agreed to meet Chris Watts in person for the first time here in this shopping center. They parked somewhere over here, and then Chris bought Amanda a coffee from this Starbucks before they decided to head to her place to watch a movie. That movie was the psychological thriller Shutter Island. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a husband who murders his wife because she killed their children.
Where are the kids?
Did the movie inspire Watts to falsely claim that he killed his wife Shanann in a rage because she strangled the little girls? Kind of eerie.
Yeah, almost like a premonition.
Right. That night, Amanda says they had their first sexual encounter.
He was very rough, I would say. Very rough. And, you know, the best way I can describe it is as he's almost zoned out into a different person.
Did he ever choke you or ask to choke you?
He did place his hand around my neck. And I quickly it freaked me out.
It sounded like he was very forceful.
Very forceful.
Is that terrifying to you now, knowing that that's how he admitted to killing his wife, choking her, and he had his hands on your neck?
Yeah.
Does she look like she is intoxicated in any way to any of you guys? Hi, Lucy. Jacqueline says, nothing would surprise me when it comes to Chris Watts. Amen to that. I say if he did it to once, like, I don't not believe, and then supposedly unalived his wife after 2 months with one woman, I just don't believe that it's not possible that he could have been with another woman. But does she look like she is intoxicated in any way to you? Her eyes look very glassy, and she's a little slurry.
The relationship lasted several weeks until Watts began seeing another woman, co-worker Nichol Kessinger. That's Watts in the mirror taking a sexy photo of Nichol.
Let's walk out this way.
The next time Amanda saw Watts, he was in the headlines for killing his wife and kids. She still can't believe she dated him.
It made me feel betrayed. It made me feel nasty. It made me feel dirty.
He had a wife at home, pregnant, two daughters at home.
I know how that hurts. I wouldn't do that to her.
This just released video shows how cold-blooded Watts was. He's at a convenience store casually buying a breakfast sandwich just hours after stuffing his children in oil tanks and burying his wife in a shallow grave. I watched it with Amanda. What do you think about his demeanor here?
Like nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Amanda says while Watts was rough with her, there was nothing about their encounter that led her to suspect that he could go on to murder.
Did she look like she was really crying or let me see.
Pregnant, two daughters at home.
I don't know if
I know
see
how that
tears.
hurts. I wouldn't do that to her.
This just released video shows how cold.
What do you guys think? Did she look like she was a little look and sound like she was a little intoxicated? I feel like she did look and sound a little intoxicated. Let's look at the Inside Edition, the Tinder page. No, not this one. I'm sorry. So the Inside Edition occurred, and then this came out, the actual interrogation of Amanda. So I thought we would watch that I am going to stop and start it. Normally I go down in the comments and hang out with you guys, but this is just a 29-minute one. I don't think, I can't remember what happens in this interrogation, to be honest with you. I remember watching Trends, but I'm not sure if I watched her interrogation. So this might be something new for me. Have any of you guys seen her quick? Well, I guess it's not even an interrogation. It's an interview. Her quick interview with the CBI. We're going to watch it. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up, guys. Helps me out tremendously. Thanks.
Detective Kenny said, my name is Dave Ballmer, detective for Frederick Police Department, and I'm a lead investigator on the Watts.
This live isn't going to be a super long live. I have this thing in my shoulder, like a pinched nerve or something, and it's making the pad of your thumb, it's making a nerve or I don't know, something, a vein pop out, and it hurts quite a bit. And I'm just feeling kind of like in pain tonight. So I'm not going to make this a super, super long one. I always say that, but then I always go like 2 hours or something. But I don't anticipate this to be over an hour.
Watts case.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line, you made some statements about how you know Chris.
Yeah, I met on Tinder maybe beginning of like March-ish.
Okay.
And it was just like, I don't know, it was like fast and furious. I have a whole bunch of like articles.
Do you think it's possible that he met her, like just saying that like maybe the timeline that Chris and NK was off, that they weren't giving it to us? I don't believe that timeline. So if that timeline was off, would it have been possible that Chris went on Tinder when NK had told him that she was going out on these dates? Do you think he was possibly trying to get back at her? Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny about that is I'm going to move this smaller. Hold on a second. And this photo right here, the one that's actually by NK, this is Amanda up here, but this is Amanda too after she's lost some weight. So she looks a lot like NK, doesn't she? I think she does. Okay. Let me get it back together. And Jacqueline said, I've not seen her. I'm more inclined to believe Chris was bisexual. Yes, I am more inclined to believe that as well.
Articles written about me, and I think it's kind of like crossing over with the other girl, but like people have been like taking random pictures of me just walking down the street, and I just, I have no idea what to say. I mean, we just met once, and
Okay. And this was March of
this year.
2018, and you met on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've never.
So if you believe the timeline, then that means that he met her just prior to meeting NK.
Use Tinder. Is there like a username, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's just like a profile you create. I've gotten back on there because you can deactivate it and reactivate it. It can either go off like your Facebook or Gmail, or you can just make a whole new account or something like that. And so I went back and checked, and his profile wasn't there, so he must have deleted it on him. And
Okay. What was his profile name?
I don't remember. It just said Chris.
Does it have like a picture? It said Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Was that
And
just...
the pictures I remember he posted were him. It was like I guess like a catfish thing, but he used another guy's like picture. It looked similar, and it was definitely not the guy in the picture when I met him. I said it was just like a one-time thing, like on the I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
It's okay. No, just relax.
Like I have nothing to hide, nothing at all. I mean, it's a little bit overwhelming, but and it's humiliating on like my end. It makes me feel, come off as a whore. But
So just walk me through from the one time that you said you met Chris at Tinder. Just walk me through that.
I just find it interesting. James said, why would these druggies go to police with this information that was never corroborated? But where did Chris get the opiates? That's my question. And I know somebody that worked with Amanda, and her drug of choice was opiates. So, and if they met in March and he started trying to feed Shanann opiates in June, July, well, that's where he got his opiates. Just a theory.
Day, evening, whatever it was, that time period.
I don't know. We just met. I don't know. It's like so blurry. And we just like met at the parking lot, Chick-fil-A. I don't know. It sounds funny. And I got something to drink, and then we just went back to my house. And
was the Chick-fil-A in the Starbucks? Because in the news thing, it just said they went to Starbucks, not Chick-fil-A. That is different.
You both went back to your house? Okay, so
followed me.
Which Chick-fil-A was that?
One on Center Place.
On Center Place?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he drove here?
Yeah. And like it's around like the February, March time period. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've met up, but I'm not trying to sound like a whore or not, but I went through a nasty divorce, and my kids are in Vermont, and so I just kind of went wild. And it's not safe, and
I'm not gonna judge you for that. That's not the purpose of this meeting, so don't worry about that. Okay, I don't care.
There are text messages that we're going to look at in just a moment.
So talk to me just a little bit about where you met up. You said at the Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
Did you both drive there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was he driving?
He was driving a truck.
Okay, what did that truck look like?
I think it was like Navy or something.
Navy?
Yeah, like blue, black, something like that.
Okay. Do you know what kind of truck?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a pickup? Anything specific about it or unique about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember. And then I remember just kind of, I don't know, I got something to drink, and then we just like, it was like so humiliating for me, because the meetup was just about sex. So we kind of just like went and, met him somewhere. And it wasn't like I know it's kind of funny now, but it's like a killer. And, no radars went off or anything. And so, it's just like scary. Like, I got this guy in my home, and, we, had sex, and he left.
Was that in the truck?
That was in my house.
So you both pull up at the Chick-fil-A, and he pulls up in the navy blue truck, and you pull up in your car. What happened? Just walk me through that with a little bit of detail.
I think it's just embarrassing. Like,
Don't worry about that.
Did Chris ever drive a navy blue truck?
Dustin's room, and I could care less about that kind of stuff.
So it's just to kind of just get a picture of like him, like what like a character, like kind of thing. So I remember he walked over to my car. I drive a Honda CRV, and we're like, oh, you want to go in or anything? And so I went inside. He stayed out there and I got some to drink, and then we just sat down and talked for a little bit. I remember talking to him about the Anadarko where he worked, because my ex-husband tried to get on with them, but he had a history of like domestic violence and everything, so they wouldn't hire him. And so I remember that conversation, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny." So I just remember that. And then he said that he was like split from his baby mama, and she wouldn't let him see his kids. And I remember kind of clicking with him about that, because my boys are in Vermont with my ex-husband, and it's been a nasty battle. And so, so that was kind of like the conversation, and then we agreed to go back to my my place, and we did it, and we left, and that was the end of communication.
Okay. Excuse me. So the Tinder thing, get a couple questions about how that works. So is that just like an app where you can chat?
Yeah, you swipe left or right, and yeah, and then if you match, then you can talk. If not, you move on.
So then did you actually talk on the phone with him before you met? Like, hey, meet me at the Chick-fil-A. How does that work?
So we talked back and forth, and then I had a different number through like a text now app, just because it was really like I'm really like funny about who has my like number. Like I'm all about like my privacy and stuff. So I was talking to him through like a text now app.
I do see the irony in her all about being about privacy, yet she sold her story to Inside Edition. Okay.
I no longer have my phone. I do have a new one, but I kind of like, I don't have Tinder on this one. But yeah, I mean, it's just a regular dating app, like Plenty of Fish or like Cupid or something.
Okay. So how did you arrange the meeting at Chick-fil-A?
Through Tinder.
I mean, how did you actually, is it all texting, or is it all, did you meet me at Chick-fil-A on Center Place, or?
I do remember that.
How did he know to find you?
Because he had that text now number. It's a number that I use to like talk to people, like my clients or something like that, because I do hair, and said I don't like people having like my actual phone number. So it was a text now app. I said this was a long time ago. I couldn't even tell you what number he had. Like I don't have anything like.
So he called you on this text now phone number? So
he didn't call me. It was all through text and stuff.
It was all through text, but you don't remember the number? Okay.
Well, with NK, the question was asked by Jacqueline. Nichol got hired with a criminal past, but her dad may have had pull. I think her dad erased her. Remember, we talked about it. Somehow she got too drinking under the age by the time she was 19, and it got erased from her record. So I think her dad had some kind of pull to erase her record for her.
About
at the very least.
Do you think that was?
Like, what do you mean? What time it was?
Like time of day, night?
Let's see. So like the day or two before, we just like talk like, hey, what's up? And then it was just more of like a spur of the moment like thing.
But I mean, what time
of day did we like?
Yeah, was it an evening when you met him at the Chick-fil-A? It was in the evening. About what time do you think that?
Like 7:45-ish. It was after I got off of work, and I went straight there. I got off of work at 7, so.
So really, what time it took you to drive there? Okay, so you were messaging while you were at work about where to meet and all?
While I was at work, yeah, I decided to meet there and just meet and do it. I mean, it's pretty hard for me to talk about because I had to explain to my parents. Like I said, when he was at my door, I mean, it was just like, I mean, like I said, like after, my boys left in the divorce and stuff like that, I just went like batshit crazy and just, hooked up with.
Yeah, I get
I mean, it's just, I wish I could remember more details, but like seriously, like it's so shameful for me to say, up until like, a couple of weeks ago, I would say like I just was able to calm down and, like I also had like a brain injury last year, traumatic brain injury, and I think that kind of contributes to my memory and stuff like that. But
How did that occur? Don't mind me asking.
it was in January of last year, and I fell and hit my head on ice, and it was hard. And I just remember waking up. I was in that basement apartment when that Chris was at, and I remember my mom. I didn't pick up my daughter from school, and my mom kind of thought that was weird, and she came to the. I don't know how I made it back into the house, but she came in, and next thing I know, like I woke up in ICU. So I mean, I was there for like 5 days and recovered pretty well. It was a subdermal hematoma, and so.
Okay. Okay, so after the Chick-fil-A, take me from there.
He's like, okay.
He just followed me to my place. And I lived at the time clear on
He sure did.
18th Avenue.
Remember the address?
1801 and a half.
She's saying it's a sex date.
Okay, I'm listening.
And then we got out, kind of. I smoked a cigarette, and I went inside, and it was really like fast. It was really aggressive, and then he left.
Okay, and what do you mean by fast and aggressive?
He was very like rough. That's all I'm gonna say. And like I don't know, like in all honesty, like it's just I'm not like I just like remember seeing that face, and the tattoos and the Anadarko job and stuff like that and the name. But other than that, like, like I said, like I couldn't pick out like 90% of the guys that I've been with, and like I know it sounds awful, but it just seems unreal that, I would know somebody that did that. Like, I keep having these doubts, so I just, I'm just not 100% sure. I mean, it's just like that all the details, match, like, it's just.
So what point did he tell you his name?
In the app.
In the app, he told you his name was Chris Watts in the app?
Well, not Watts. I mean, like you just put your first name.
Okay, so he never told you his name was Watts? So how do you know it's him?
I just recognized the face and everything.
Okay. Tell me about his tattoos.
I remember they were on his back and his arms, but other than that, I don't remember. I don't remember much. I don't know he had tattoos on his arms and on his back. Other than that, I said I'm not a strong witness or anything like that. It's just an interaction I have with him.
Do you remember seeing the tattoos on his legs? So you said, describe what you mean by aggressive when he was aggressive with you.
I really don't want to say much. I really don't.
Well, it's a pretty important case, so you're now in the middle of it.
What's that?
You're now in the middle of it, at least as part of it. So you said that he was being aggressive, so you need to tell me what this is about.
I don't know. I was told.
She's a little
Not
too
really,
stoned
like,
to even know
say
how to
much with the
reply.
lawyer. I just don't want to incriminate myself anyway.
I can tell you that I'm not looking at you or any criminal danger as a witness. Okay, so don't worry about that.
I don't know. I just remember kind of. It was like, I don't know. It's just like it's hard to explain. It was like it's humiliating for me to talk about. Like it really is. Like I mean, he was rough, as in it's just he tried to like stick it in my butt. So it's
Okay.
weird. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, but what else that was aggressive, or how did you
Like
feel?
pulling my hair and putting his arms around my neck. It was like a rape fantasy thing. That's how I,
Okay.
I describe it.
So she said that he liked to stick it in her rear end, and we do know that NK was Googling to see how to prep her rear end for that type of stuff.
So like, I just remember thinking like, what the fuck when he left? Like, I actually had to like push him off me at one point.
Okay.
That's because she's not mistress, the number one mistress, NK.
Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry, but I just have to ask.
But yes, I notice.
Back up. Do you have your ID with you?
Mm-hmm.
See it real quick, please. What's your current address now? Is it on your DL there?
No, that's the old one. I haven't gotten it.
Oh, your ID card.
She just keeps repeating that it's embarrassing to her. And it's obvious that he's never used Tinder before, the police officer, or he's just playing really dumb.
So what's your current address now?
2106 and a half 8th Avenue.
So you were saying that people are taking pictures of you now and following you around, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me about that a little bit.
Pictures here that I've screenshot and people screenshot and sent them to me.
Okay. What is this, Facebook?
Yeah, it's an article
Screenshot
from
from
Facebook, and then on the other ones, they're using I deactivated my Facebook and everything just because of all the messages and stuff I've been getting, but yeah, that's,
So you don't have any of that anymore?
the messages. Yeah.
What are the content of the messages, I guess?
Let me pull some up.
Why wouldn't he ask for the exact messages to see them instead of just asking for the content? Ask to see them.
So somehow my messenger is still active, even though I deleted my Facebook. I don't know how that works, but like I didn't accept them. But this one's like,
So crazy how her phone doesn't work well either. NK couldn't work her phone.
so the content of them is like that. Back how it started is my big mouth. I joined a group that's like this Kimberly Kessler this thing in Florida, this hairdresser that went missing, and he was like one of her coworkers of her disappearance. And so it was called like a sleuth group or something like that. And they created one about the Watts case. And there was something about like, oh, I wonder if, there was a history of infidelity. And stupid me, I'm like, well, I met this guy on Tinder. And I'm not even kidding. Within like 2 hours, I had like 400 notifications and, like 30 messages. And like I deleted it. I deleted everything. I deleted my, my Facebook. And then, just all of a sudden, like, reporters and news people got they tracked down my phone number, they tracked down my email addresses, and even like know where I work, and I was like put on suspension at work because of those pictures and stuff floating around. They don't want.
The picture you just showed me?
They haven't want to send me that.
Can you pull that back up for me? Can I take a picture of that? So when you said I met this guy on Tinder, who are you referring to? Chris Watts?
Yes.
And that's how everything got out.
Yeah.
And when did that happen?
I want to say like a couple of days after it came out that he had killed her, that he killed his family. So it was like when it was discovered that all the details. So it was a couple of weeks ago, probably like timeline wise. Let's see, because at work, so I don't have cable or anything. Everything I see is from, Facebook, and I'm not on very much. And so like I had no idea any of this was going on until I joined the group. I saw, like it's weird because one of my friends is so Nicole, you talked about, used to be her name. She was my manager over at Supercuts here in Greeley. And she was Shannon's best friend. She's the one that did all the, the interviews and stuff like that.
Nicole Atkinson, because Nicole was her manager, because Nicole is a hairdresser, and this woman is a hairdresser.
And so I saw something.
But I do see in chat somebody said there was a YouTube, and I think I remember this too. There was a YouTube channel I watched once upon a time that linked Amanda and Trent to NK somehow. I wish I could remember who did it, but it's out there. I watched it. It seems very researched.
On her Facebook about like Shannon missing and stuff, and so I knew like that part, but I didn't know like it was about Chris.
Wonder how Nicole Atkinson feels about seeing this,
So it's a small
knowing that she worked with her.
So you said Nicole, you and Nicole worked together,
a long time ago.
and that was how long ago?
That was when I was still married. Probably like 2013. I want to say 2013.
Okay, do you know her? You said Utah,
Mm-hmm.
and at where?
Supercuts.
Where though?
By Walmart and Noodles on just West 10th here.
Okay. And you are positive the guy you met on Tinder is Chris Watts.
See, and that's the $1 million question. Like everything matches up from from what I remember, but I'm just like not like confident enough to get up there and be like, yeah, that was him. Like, I mean, if it were just weeks ago, that'd be one thing. But like I've been like going back and forth with this the whole time. I am like 99.9% that it's him. Like I, honestly, like all the other guys that I've, hooked up with, I really couldn't point them out in the crowd. I just been like, just crazy. Like that's all I can like really say. Like, it's all these men. I'm honestly, I just 99.9% sure it was him.
Okay.
Like I wish I had more. Really wish I did, but it's like I don't.
The 1% doubt is because of why?
Probably because of the complexity of this case.
What does that mean?
I mean, just the not, why.
I mean, it's quite possible that they all met in rehab, Trent, NK, and Amanda. I do have some updated photos of Amanda, and she looks much healthier.
Get involved, just not, like believing it's true, just kind of denial about, being a whore or something like that, and then coming, forward. But like seriously, like I just that 1% chance, it's like I'm more like leaning, I guess, and I'm just like every matches, like, just what I have in my head, like, just those images that I can't get out are kind of burned in there. But I have this like these doubts, like it's just I just don't know.
Okay.
He keeps trying to give her this out with like, are you sure this is going to be more paperwork for me? Are you sure?
Did he talk about his family?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
No, he just said that he was separated, and he said he was baby mama, wouldn't let him see his kids. He didn't say anything else, but I didn't remember him saying that. And then the Anadarko conversation were the only two conversations that we really had.
Okay, so he told you he worked for Anadarko, and was that before or after you met him?
This
In person, I mean.
was during
Well,
our meeting, yeah, at Chick-fil-A.
at Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did he ask you what you did?
Yeah, I did hair.
For Supercuts?
No, I'm on Great Clips in Portland.
That's where you're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were you at Great Clips at that same time you met him?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you can think of that I need to know, that you think I should know?
Amanda, I'll definitely call you if I think of anything.
With that, I'm gonna give you my card, okay? And hang on just a minute, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the end of this. It's just her sitting at the in the room. So we're gonna keep going. Then the photo that she kept referring to, well, the text that she kept referring to is this. And we never see the name. It's just this. And it's her talking, and she's completely blacked out the name. Her up here, Amanda McMahon. I can personally attest to Chris cheating, and then it's blacked out. I didn't know he was married. I swear I didn't know anything about him having a family. We met on Tinder, and then it's blacked out, and then already been in contact with them. I'm not, this must have been when she was in that group. I'm not the one he was having the long-term relationship with. Let's just say there's probably a lot of us. I'm not allowed to say anything about our encounter because, and then that's all there was. But then Radar Online went further and found Mistress, who played kinky sex games with Colorado unaliver Chris Watts, revealed. And so this must have been when they were taking pictures of her, and she said that she put in extensions and all of that. They always get the worst photos possible, don't they? Killer dad Chris Watts had a second mistress he enacted out our word fantasies with. One Radar Online and RadarOnline.com can exclusively reveal her identity as Colorado hairdresser Amanda Tells. Now, she goes by both of these names, Amanda Tells and Amanda McMahon Tells and Amanda McMahon. So, exclusive photos obtained by RadarOnline.com show her outside the Great Clips hair salon where she worked in Colorado, relaxing on a smoking break. So here she is, relaxing on a smoke break. More of her relaxing on a smoke break. She described how he would put his hands on her, around her neck during intercourse, and added, "Now that I know who he is, it gives me the chills. I can even think about it." And that he had our fantasy. He was very kinky when he had sex. It was very animalistic, she said. He just zoned out into a different person. Amanda's name was included in the 2,000 pages of files on Watts' release last week and obtained by Radar Online. She had spoken with investigators about their encounter in May and June after he had been arrested for unaliving his wife Shanann and their daughters Bella 4 and Celeste 3 in August. Amanda also told investigators Watts took her on dates to Chick-fil-A and during sex attempted to stick it in her behind. She also said she even had to fight him off at one point when he became aggressive. Amanda said she was distraught when she saw him on the news and his family had disappeared. Describing the moment it dawned on her she had been sleeping with a schmurder, Amanda said, "It turned my stomach that somebody could act like that." So there we have her being revealed.